Right, so carefully take position. Right, hello, welcome, peace be upon you. Welcome to another episode of the Happiness Revolution, where I hope to join you in a happiness revolution, where I hope to explain to you age-old wisdom throughout the centuries that has changed people's lives and always changed the world. And the age in which we're living in is not all that different. We're not going through circumstances that we haven't gone through before. History does actually repeat itself. So what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about how to really be alive. And to be really alive is before you do that, you have to do something which is completely overcome fear. And to overcome fear, you have to give up, in a way, your life, as it were. You have to face death. And this is not an idea that you just find in religions. You find it in loads of really cool movies like Fight Club and Star Wars, and I want to explain some of those ideas, because sometimes when it comes to through ideas that are not so religious, it kind of makes more sense maybe, or more palatable, something more agreeable. So I love there was this thing, so watch Fight Club if you ever get round to it. There's a bit, basically what happens in Fight Club, what is it sort of about? It's about overcoming your fear so that you can really live life you really want to live, and removing all the stupid excuses you make for yourself, and saying, you know what, like we in our mind, we tell ourselves, oh, we don't really want a better life, we're all right in this sort of very limited life. We don't say our limited life, we make all sorts of excuses for our terrible lives, but deep inside we're really unhappy and we don't know why. And the reason why we don't know why is actually we do know why, because we're making all these excuses. We're masking our problems with excuses. And deep inside we know we're just making all these excuses, but we're happy or content with our very limited lives, because we pretend to people outside ourselves that we're happy with our lives. So we go, okay, as long as people don't realise that I'm really unhappy, then I'm kind of just happy enough. If I'm exposed that I'm really unhappy with my life, then I won't be so happy. This film, Fight Club, is about getting rid of that fear. Getting rid of the excuses, getting rid of the fear, and really living your life. And it's all about revolution as well. It's about making other people lose their fear, and them really living their lives to the full, like really feeling. People have lost feeling in their own lives. It's like as if they're living like zombies, like I said before. Really boring excuses, not really excuses, discussions between each other, talking about the weather, and people not really being like this kind of thing, you know what I mean, like alive. You can see in their face, she's alive, more alive than most adults are, just doing their thing and expressing themselves and stuff like that. And hopefully she won't. Oh no! Don't! No, send us back! No. Thank you very much. I'm still in shock. Okay, so how do you do it? And I'm kind of putting it off. In the film, is the guy faces fear by putting himself in pain. Okay, practically what happens, and you can YouTube it. He basically burns his own hand and doesn't try to blank out the pain, but just faces it and says, this is pain, deal with it. Because one day, he says, you will die, just deal with it. And once you've dealt with the fact that you will die, you will come alive. And I mentioned in Star Wars, I'll very briefly mention it, it's actually a very clever, I don't know what they call it, a series of films, episodes, I suppose, and in different more than one stage in the film, basically a person sacrifices his life, and what he says is, because I sacrificed my life because I knew when I sacrificed my life I will become more powerful than ever before. And that's what happens to you. When you become free, you become powerful. Obviously you can imagine that you become more powerful because you're no longer a slave to so many stupid materialistic controls. You're not keeping up with the Joneses, so you're not actually controlled by the Joneses. You're not controlled by your neighbours and other people's perceptions, so you can actually live the life you really want to live. So I'm trying to explain things. I don't want to go into too much detail. Let me just take her to one side. Run over there, run over there, good girl. Okay, so I'm trying not to go into too much detail in explaining these philosophies. I'm trying to give an idea that these ideas are actually out there, and she's running a little bit far away, but she'll be alright. The ideas are out there, and this idea that you must die before you live, I hope that makes sense. You must, but not physically die, you must feel like almost you're going to die by facing your fear and just going for it, and it will feel like you're going to die, and it won't happen only once in your life. It's not like you face your fear once. You will face one fear and you'll overcome it and become more liberated, but then you'll see that you actually were in another bigger prison of your own making, or making of society and yours. You have to take some responsibility that you allowed yourself to be in these prisons of fake desires imposed on you, things that you didn't really want, but people are very easily controlled. You might be surprised by the fact that the things that you want are not really things that you want. They're desires that have been imposed on you, not just through advertising, but so many other things by your friends and whoever, who also say, I really want this and I really want that, and you think, I really want that as well because I'm competing. You start competing with them, Okay, so anyway, so what am I trying to say? I'm still trying to say that you have to face death, and I'm trying to explain what it means to face death. And this is a very ancient idea, and in the past, if you're not so aware of it, if you're not religious, you might be aware of this idea of reincarnation. Now you have to remember, okay, reincarnation comes from two different religions, Hinduism and Buddhism, and their histories have crossed paths, and you will see that actually a lot of their religious ideas are very similar. And what I'm trying to say is that religions come initially as pure truth, but get mixed up. So the religion, what I'm trying to say is the original Buddhism of its inception at the time of Buddha is not the Buddhism of today. And what I'm trying to say is that, for example, if you look at reincarnation, this idea of dying and then coming back to life, and dying, coming back to life, this is just another idea that has been taught throughout within all the different religions. You hear of, in Christianity, you hear of being born again. So the idea has been misunderstood because, of course, Buddhism and Hinduism are very old religions, so they didn't have computers to write down all their ideas. So people over the ages misunderstood and started thinking that we physically have to die and be born again, die and born again, until you reach this idea of heaven or nirvana, whatever you call it. But in reality, it's not a physical death we're talking about, although it will feel like a physical death. You will feel like, oh my God, I'm facing... when you give up your desires of women and money and stuff like that, or when I say women and money, and so it doesn't mean you don't have relationship with women or you don't have any money at all, but making that your source, throwing away the idea that that will be your source of happiness and that you depend on it and you cannot live without it. You have to throw those ideas away, and it will feel like death itself as you do it. But you won't give it away, you won't give it up completely, even though you might at one stage you might be thinking, oh, I'm going to give it up completely, but you realize once you overcome your first death, you will realize that actually there was you're depending on those same things at a deeper level and another level and another, and you have to keep overcoming them. But each time you'll become more free. So in short, let me wind up and say that you must overcome your fears to become truly alive, and you must go through a sort of death many times in your one life to become truly alive. And I just feel like I should maybe add something new to that, but really the truth is simple, and the kind of stuff I'm saying is stuff you gotta contemplate on to truly understand it. I suppose I could try to explain what it means to sacrifice, what it is that you need to sacrifice, but there are so many things you need to sacrifice, and the reason why you need to sacrifice it is for your own benefit. Whatever good thing you do, as I might have said before, probably will say and I'll probably keep repeating, whatever good thing you do for your own benefit. So this death is not really when you're really losing out. You will feel like you're losing, but when you accept that death and you say, I give up these bad things, you'll come out the other side truly alive. And so many people have done that. And I suppose I want to wind up by saying, if you look at all the people who have done cool things in life and the people that society, however materialistic, looks up to, they're the people who took outrageous risks. And how do you become those people? People think, oh, I'm not that person. Well, how do you become that person? Do you just give up and say, I'm not going to become that person? No, what you do is you say, you need to be able to face death over and over again to be able to become those people, to live the life that you really want to live. And to do that, I'm going to say one more thing: you have to keep being honest with yourself. When you become honest with yourself, then you see the hypocrisy in your life and the weaknesses in your life, and then you'll see the things that you need to overcome, the deaths that you need to face, and when you face them, you'll become more alive than ever before. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.